Alrighty, what is up, guys? I've been uploading every day for more than 2 weeks now, and today I'm going to share some reflections and what I feel like I have learnt. It's late as hell right now, so not going to lie, I am pretty tired, but I am on this daily upload quest, so the show must go on. So let's get straight into it. So, the first thing is that constraints are epic. I feel like when you force yourself to upload every single day, that is a constraint which probably isn't natural. If I didn't have that hard and fast rule, I probably wouldn't be filming right now. And I probably wouldn't have filmed a lot of the times. And I would have felt like I needed to get everything perfect. But obviously, if you're forcing yourself to do it pretty often, then you have to make compromises and trade-offs with respect to the quality for quantity. But the idea is, and the intention is at least, that there will be an overall benefit. And in the best case, the quality is also better than if we tried to hit it from the quality angle directly. So the constraints are very useful. The constraints also increase the likelihood of experimentation, because sometimes you just got to do something quick. Often the conditions aren't perfect, and yeah, like I was walking with my mate the other night, and I hadn't filmed the video for the day, so then we just decided to do a video then, and it ended up being a very fun and rewarding experience. That's just one example. Now, when the goal is high volume, it is easier to take action and not be paralyzed, because you just have to do it. So the goal is to do it, and when the approach is such, you can't worry about things being right. You can't overthink things, because then there's a risk of jeopardizing the goal of producing the video daily. So you just do it, and if you're anything like me, it ends up for the better. Otherwise, you overthink everything, then you sort of lose motivation and you lose energy, actually, because of the tendency to underestimate how everything normally takes. But with the volume, naturally time box it, as I mentioned before in multiple videos, and hence the energy management ends up being much more better than if you try to shoot for the stars and burn out early, right? If it's high volume, it's actually much more fun too, because it takes the pressure off, because then you're like, there's no way I'm producing something really, really good, so I'm just going to do it. And it ends up being quite low pressure and fun. And I think there's something to be said for that. And the quality increases in a sort of like a natural, playful way, rather than trying too hard, let's say. Though, as we'll get to later, that is a bit of a drawback, that you could go deeper and be more deliberate. From a certain perspective, the deliberateness is sort of capped, and it is harder to be as deliberate as I would like, right? Also with volume is that it's easy to develop the identity, which helps with motivation in terms of being someone who produces videos, or a YouTuber or a content creator or whatever, because you're taking the actions, which is evidence for yourself that this is what is normal to do. So often I'm just whipping the camera out, or I'm with friends and I need to film, or I'm driving and I need to film, or I'm in the kitchen that day and I needed to film. So it should become something you do, and it really does help ingrain the habit by slowly developing the identity of somebody who performs these actions. So many good points for volume. I think volume increases the chances of success. Success is relative, of course, and there's so many different ways to measure. This probably isn't the best way, but the metric I'm thinking right now is just say views and likes. I generally don't get more than 100 views, but I've got 2 videos now in the last 2 weeks that I've gotten more than 200, which is relatively high for this channel. And they were unexpected. I didn't have a hunch that those were the videos that would perform better, however they did. So it increases the chances of success, but it also leads to my next point, where it gives you enough data to then retrospectively analyze and look at the things that might be working and that aren't working. So that's a really cool way. Compared to, say, if you just do one video a month or even one video a week, then you get 4 shots in a month. It's hard to know what's working, what's not, I feel. Of course you can, but at this stage, I feel like just doing 30 videos a month and looking back, it's like, damn, this worked, that didn't, this seemed to work, these titles seem to work, these thumbnails seem to work. I thought this would work, but it didn't work, and etc. etc. So you got like objective evidence. Now, another thing I realized, which is a drawback in this case, is when the volume is high, even though you time box things and try to keep it sustainable, the time actually does add up, which it eats into other things. So like I still spend about an hour a day producing a video, and it eats into the time I could be doing on my other priorities, like the side businesses I'm trying to get off the ground, etc., etc. It's just a reality that it's time consuming, right? But what can you do? It is very fun, which more than makes up for it. Another thing I learned is feedback is really important from friends. I went for a walk with my mate yesterday, and he was just telling me that my shorts don't make sense at all. Something doesn't click or land with them. Something feels off. And I never really thought about my shorts because they're sort of completely AI cut. I'm like, that would make sense. And just hearing that piece of feedback, I think I will be more intentional and a bit more deliberate and a bit more hands-on, rather than just getting AI to cut whatever from my long form videos and I just automatically upload the shorts. So, but having said that, I feel like 1 in 5 of my shorts gets more views than the rest. So there's something to be extracted in the end of the month anyway. Now, a positive would be when you take momentum and you're taking action and you're constantly producing, uploading stuff. That's very satisfying. I feel like it scratches a psychological itch, which would be very itchy if I was just planning and thinking and optimizing all day without really shipping anything. And my very last takeaway / insight is that there needs to be deep time for reflection at some point. And when you're doing daily uploads, it's not that easy to get that in. And even if you do get it in, it's not that easy to implement the experiments and the lessons and the takeaways that would come from the reflection, right? So I would love to give myself a break at some point, maybe in a month or something, and maybe take a week off and use that to optimize everything, like optimize processes around coming up with a thumbnail, try to find a way to start scripting hooks, because I never do, start incorporating or setting a standard for editing techniques, etc., etc., etc. Consider more like plan video ideas up front, because I sort of don't. Like this video, I just sort of wrote down the dot points like 10 minutes ago, and now I'm filming just because I haven't had enough time today. So that, like, the daily volume thing, it doesn't lend itself that well to the deep and careful thought, reflection, and the implementation of like experiments. But what can you do? That's where we're at the moment. And yeah, so that is today's video. So I would really, really recommend it. It's a great experience. If you're thinking about starting YouTube, you're hesitating, get momentum, do it every day and see what happens in 30 days. That's it for now. Have a good night, everybody. Goodbye for now. And I catch you guys on the flip side.